Good morning, everyone. It's Jazz from the West Ham Minds channel. I hope everyone's well and had a good week and will enjoy this weekend. I've got Frankie with me. Frankie, it's a new show, Hammering It Out. I hope you like the name, but it's going to be a little bit of, just speaking our minds, isn't it, mate, really? So it's, what I like about you is obviously, you don't mince your words. You're quite honest. You just say it the way it is. And I think that's what this show's going to be a bit about, really. So, there could be some harsh words, but we don't really care. That's the format of the show. We're going to talk about, obviously, all things West Ham, anything that comes across, obviously, anyone in the chat wants to talk about, or Frankie. And I've written down some things that have happened, last few days. So, we'll definitely try to do it once a week and perhaps a second, depending on what we're doing personally, really. But first of all, Frankie, welcome and hope you've had a good week, mate. How you been?
Yeah, really well. Obviously, last time I was on, I said I was looking forward to the break and having a bit of a rest from it all. And as much as I enjoyed the season, it was a wild one, and I needed a rest. But I'm fully recovered now. I've been out in Spain for a little bit, mate. So I'm back. I'm re-energized, recharged, and looking forward to getting to some of those friendlies, mate. I'm looking forward to getting to Rangers. That'll be fun. And the French tour look like it could be a pretty decent one as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, mate.
Yeah, it would. What I'm hearing without looking into in great depth is that we're traveling all over the place, even though the distances ain't great. It looks like a lot of it's kind of jumping on a little flight to go there, then coming back, then going there, because the club, obviously, due to the money and the coverage, they did offer David Moyes, I believe, perhaps like a Far East tour, I think, and he said no, I don't want to do none of that. So he largely likes to stay in Scotland or Europe or France especially. So in terms of Rangers, mate, do you know what the ticket would be? Would it be regarded like priority points? Is it, or is it limited?
It is. It's very similar to a standard away game. I think we've only got 1,500 tickets, so
That's
it's
what I
not
heard.
many. So yeah, it is very much down to your normal away ticket process, which is crazy for a friendly, but that's how it is. So
It is. It is. In terms of your trip to Spain, I know I'm hearing all sorts of cancellations in flights, limited
mate, it
staff.
was a dream. I
Yeah,
say that had
yeah.
a little bit of ag in the initial part where a couple of our flights were cancelled, so we had to change flights. But actually, although mate, I'm not the best flyer, and we ended up having to change to a flight out of City Airport, and those planes are tiny, mate. You feel everything on them planes. It was an experience, I tell you.
The smallest one I ever went on was from St. Lucia to Barbados. It took about an hour. I didn't tell my wife this. I said we're going on it. And when she saw it, she goes, "Are we going in that? Because I'm not going in that." And I tried to keep calm. I said, "No, I'll be all right." And he was all right. He was all right. I think it fits about 20. I can't remember. A bit more, something like that. So that's the only experience. I can't sleep on a flight, mate. I don't enjoy it. I just get on with it, read something. That's mainly what I do.
Funnily
Yeah,
enough, this time, mate, I watched the last game at the Upton Park again. I watched that, so I quite enjoyed watching that back. Watched the full match and sort of it was reliving it and just watching it back, remembering, because it's like when you're there, you don't remember everything, do you? It's just emotional, you're in the moment. But it was nice to watch it back with calm eyes and just plain viewing and see how the game went, really. So it was good.
I was watching our old sort of You Mean Baz on the old Claret and Army TV.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember a lot of it, but we had some laughs on that, mate. Oh my god,
We did.
that was some great guests on there.
And mate, go back, have a look. We got a lot of it right. Soucek and his limited ability, we got it right. Time and time again, when we got sort of dug out for the opinions that we were having, a lot of it, the only thing that I still put my hands up with was the only guarantee in football, if you have one full season with David Moyes, he gets you relegated. That was probably my biggest faux pas that I've ever had.
Actually, Frankie, you remind me, of your permission, I might go back in there, get some clips together.
Yeah, definitely.
That's especially with predictions. I'll show them to you, and perhaps we can share them.
That'd be really good and really interesting to discuss that. That'd be
hilarious. Yeah.
Well.
We'll do that. We'll do that. And you remind me what we'll do before this season starts. We'll do our own predictions. Yeah, we'll do our own ones and look back and things like that. The chat's warming up. Hi, Gary. How you doing? I'm glad. Yeah, the show's just started. I hope you're going to love it a lot more, mate. So I hope you're all well. I heard GSB are going on
Going on
strike.
strike.
Yeah, I mean, not going to politically say anything, but what I'm hearing is the public are not behind these strikes. What I'm hearing, people are like, obviously, we had lockdown and certain people were paid, certain weren't, and now we're coming out of it with all kinds of things. And yeah, I mean, I've been going to London on Tuesday, so we'll see. We'll keep an eye out on that.
The
Really,
interesting thing on that, mate, is the GSB comment that we all felt like Kretinsky was going to sort of flex his muscles a little bit and gradually start to take over. And with Brady going to Birmingham and then sort of GSB, were they going to leave? They've come out this week and made very formal statements that Kretinsky is certainly not anywhere close to being in the mix for takeover of the company, and they're in it for the long haul. So everyone who thought, and you take it with a pinch of salt, mate, they might just be saying that, and that's fair enough. But they're adamant right now that they are still here for the foreseeable future, mate.
Actually, let's start off with that point, because I was going to start with something else. But on about Kretinsky, mate, it could be something to do with that, couldn't it? So that is the prize money. And I think when he did strike a price in the deal, it was kind of around that time when, it did go up quite a bit, didn't it? So
it did. I mean, also TV money significantly increased. So, someone was sort of mentioning on Twitter to me the other day that, this prize money and this TV money is where was his big motivator. I struggle with that, mate, because that in the grand scheme of things, let's be honest, is pennies, mate. That and what do they say about sort of the prize money and the revenue that comes in through the stadium and fans and all that? It's insignificant. TV money is a massive part of it. But again, that sort of will only help a club wash its face, really, mate. That TV money, that is your running costs. You're not going to end up with massive amounts of profit out of that. So, for me, he's involved in all sorts of different businesses. But for me, he'd already said it. We want to clear this debt. We want to take control of that stadium. If you take control of that stadium, the club is worth an absolute fortune. So for me, that's more was his motivator, and I think that's been clear from day dot. But
yeah, Sky. I mean, I'll have a look at later what that's about. And the other one, mate, interesting enough, is the Europa league, and it's quite interesting. Like every win in the match, group win was €630,000. Group winners 1.1 million, and then obviously $500,000 round 32, 1.2 million last 16, 1.8 quarterfinals, 2.8 million. It's all building up, isn't it? Nicely. It's quite handy, isn't it? All of that.
Yeah, no, it is, mate. But you should have a war chest now. We should be sitting here with all that money going. We're ready to go. We have very little expenses, very little running costs because of our agreements with the stadium and the staff. Sort of, I know we do have staff, but we have a lot less staff than most clubs because we don't have to be in that stadium every 365 days a year. So our overheads are not as significant as some other clubs, and with all that extra revenue, we should be sitting here rubbing our hands together, going, who's that massive striker we're going to sign? Who's that massive marquee midfielder we're going to sign? We've got the defender, but it's the noises that are coming out. It doesn't seem like we've got a war chest at all. So,
yeah, I mean, we'll never know. But the one thing I'm hearing is that this could be the end of Karen Brady. I think
it seems that way, doesn't it? It's looking that way, which I think ain't. If you take out the fact that I just despise the woman and really struggle with the way she is at times, she adds value in certain places. She's high up in the business world. She's obviously high up, well, not high up in government, but she's got connections to the government. All those things can go in your favour at times, mate. When you need, I think when we got in trouble with the way that we took over the London Stadium and stuff like that, I do think her connections with the government help out because you have a quiet word with a few people, a few brown envelopes are passed, and then all of a sudden the trouble ain't as bad as it could have been. So she added value in certain ways, mate. But it's quite weird because she took that big pay rise, didn't she, about 6 months ago? Significant pay rise, and now she's out the door potentially. So
I mean, Yeah, being part of the corporate world, mate, I've seen promotions where they're not deserved, promoted when you're connected, and she certainly, her father was very wealthy, got her a nice job as an MD at the age of 21. Who the hell gets a job like that at Birmingham? And then obviously Sullivan has got some kind of connection with this Birmingham guy, and part of the deal, because he always looks after so much, is can you give her a chairman role or something like that? And she perhaps still lives in Birmingham. We've got a house up there with
Mm,
was it Paolo Pescalida, what that Canadian winger she
yeah.
married? I'm not sure about that. Just a quick mention for Luca AFC, Arsenal fan, but really nice chap. Got chatting to him this week. Brand new channel. You wouldn't believe some of the names this guy's got on the channel straight away. Darmish from Sky was on there yesterday. So Luca, give me that number, mate. I'd like to have a chat with him if I can. But good luck on your new channel, mate. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, all that thing. So what's the next one? We also had live. Yeah, good point, mate. Yeah, BT. They're going to give him a little bit of money, aren't they?
Yeah.
What about this guy, mate? What's your feelings on Agerd? Knife Agerd? Naf?
Yeah. I mean, from his interviews, he seems like a really grounded, sensible fella. I think he doesn't seem like someone who I would say his character fits the squad. David Moyes, he ain't got no massive ego. I don't think he's going to unsettle anything.
Yeah.
I think he's a perfect temperament and character to come into the club. It seems like he works hard, which is a really important thing for David Moyes. He seems to have a bit of ability on the ball, which is a really, big plus. In terms of himself and as a signing, I'm very happy with it. It's difficult to judge because that French league, as we know, it ain't the same level as the Premier League. So it's hard to watch and look at the stats and watch his games from there and judge whether or not he'll hit the ground running in the Premier League or not. But I'm okay with the signing, mate. I think it's a decent signing. We needed more bodies in that position. So, all good, mate. I'm happy with it. But I'm not ecstatic with it. I'm not one of these people. I've seen so many people that are just like, all of a sudden totally pacified over one signing and are now letting the ball off the hook. It's a drop in the ocean. It's a good signing, a good acquisition. I'm happy with that signing, but I was almost like, where's the next one? What's happening now? That's what I want to see. Let's go and, we've got a lot of positions we've got to fill. We've got a very depleted squad. We need more than just this guy. But him as a standalone, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think he's a good age. He's 26, 6'3", left-footed, so complement Zuma. Same sort of language, French. If Areola comes over the line next week, finally, that's another French-speaking person. I don't know if that helps. I think it helps in settling down, I think, in the team when everyone's back together in the camp. What I've seen of him, he's also technically, he's got a good pass on him from the back. But like with all things West Ham, we wish him the best of luck, but mostly good health and don't get injured, mate. And he doesn't get injured too often, and we haven't had too many of those since Moyes came, to be fair. So definitely needed. But like you said, we're catching up, aren't we, mate? We should have bought a couple of more players like that ages ago, but we haven't really. The other thing was obviously in terms of the pre-season that we touched upon. Couple of the games are grounds I really want to go to. Reading is just down the road for me, mate. 10 minutes, 15 minutes by car up the M4. Luton, again, not that hard for me to get on the M25 and into Hertfordshire and Bedford and all that kind of thing. So you're going to be going to a few games?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd definitely like to get to Rangers. I'd like to get to the French trip as well. I think that would be an enjoyable trip. So I'd like to get to that. Reading, I've just got terrible memories of, mate. When we nicked their manager, they were just like the Brighton of that era. Do you know what I mean? We just could not beat them for love nor money, no matter how important the game was. We couldn't ever beat them. So it was, because of that, I guess it just doesn't sit in my mind as somewhere that I'd like to go. But it ain't far. It is only down the road, so maybe I will pop down there. But I'm sure you remember those days. We nicked Pards, and then that was it. We just could never ever beat them after that. So
I think it's Bedfordshire, isn't it, Luton? If I'm right, is it the line Bedfordshire?
Yeah, Luton is. Yeah,
Bedfordshire, mate. Yeah.
I know. I thought Luton was Hertford.
Hertford. Oh, is it Hertfordshire then? Same as Watford then? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just outside M25, just down there, mate.
Just up that way.
Up that way, mate. Luton. I think they're trying to get a new ground. They nearly went up. They didn't. So we'll see on that front what kind of happens, really. In terms of transfers and things like that, mate, Soucek, I got a feeling we're going to get a few out the door. So like you said, let's hold our horses till the window's kind of closed. So 30 million on a guard was really good investment. But I think there's more to come on that front. I think Dupe, Soucek, Benrahma, they could be out the door. Well, Vlasic, they're trying to find someone who wants to grab him. Everyone wants him on a free or on a loan with no commitment to buy, which that's the kind of players we have, isn't it, mate? So on the Soucek front, mate, some serious money being talked about for him, age 27 and contract dispute.
I think it's hard to let anybody go. I think Moyes would be crazy to let any more go out the door. I think we're on our... And, would he trust them to bring anybody in if he lets them go out the door? I certainly don't. So I would just be very surprised if Moyes was happy with any more bodies going out before he's got some come in. So, yeah, I would be surprised if we see more movement with people exiting until Moyes has the people that he wants.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, something's going on with the contract. He had a very average season last season, so we'll see what happens on that front. But then again, it's more about who you're going to bring in. And obviously, talking about that position, Phillips Leeds, 42 million, mate, Man City. Obviously, he's a local Leeds boy. I think a lot of him up there. I personally, again, because I've got Rice, maybe my thinking is that way. I'm not sure about him, really. Injury prone quite a lot as well. And Pep does get it kind of up and down in the market because he can afford to do that, really. So what about Phillips, mate? You kind of think maybe we did go in for him or we didn't?
I don't think we did, personally. He was never, I don't know, he just always seemed out of reach to me. Why would he? I don't know. Yeah, strange one for me. I mean, Declan Rice has certainly eclipsed him now since they both played for England in the Euros, and they were sort of a bit like that, both on the sort of par as to, who the better player was. I think Rice has kicked on to another level and has far surpassed the sort of level that Phillips is at. But really and truly, mate, you've got to look at them like they're a similar sort of player. And I imagine he is just as ambitious as Declan Rice is. And why would he look at West Ham and think, that's where I'm going to go and achieve what I want to achieve in my career? I just don't think he's going to see it that way. He's destined for the big boys. He's never going to be a West Ham player, mate.
Yep. I mean, Luca, have you been Bedford or Luton? I went to a wedding once in Luton and, mate, oh my God, thought I was in,
I'm Luton every week, but I'll go to the nice part of Luton. I go to Dunstable area, but my main client's up there, so I'm up there. I was there Thursday, so I'm always in and around Luton.
Interesting view again from, Lucas saying get rid of him, mate. I want to see Ward Prowse or someone who can offer a bit more, maybe one of the Wolves boys, but we'll see who we kind of bring in, really. The other, going back to Rice, mate, those rumours are beginning to build up very slowly, though, because obviously the deal, I think, has been done with the new owners, if I'm right. Obviously, when new owners come in, there's always two things they want to do. Is sometimes they want to bring their own manager in, and certainly a key signing, a big signing, isn't it? A statement to say the fans back us, really. And looks like, City have chosen their CDM for now. Liverpool have spent a lot of money already, and I think they're not going to look in that area at the moment. Chelsea, mate, as we know in football, Frankie, it's a funny old game. We can't rule anything out. And what's worrying me, certainly in terms of typical West, I'm not sure if we're going to get that 100 million and above figure for Rice at the moment from anyone. And that's why clubs are staying away, playing a game. He's got a couple of years left, I think, option of the third. It could happen, mate, Chelsea. They could come in because with Broja, I mean, we're kind of after him at Chelsea. I don't know. You don't know, do you? Could be anything can happen in football, couldn't it? Because he's not signing an extension. But then, like, the good thing about Leeds, what the fans were saying yesterday, mate, is that they got rid of Phillips early. So get the money in, and now I think Rafinha is going to be very quick as well. The idea is you get your money in quick and you start kind of wait till the last week for another 5 million or 3 million. So I think with us, again, we've got to do it early. If you want someone out, obviously Rice is going to be complicated. Did you see any movement on the Chelsea front this summer?
I think it's hard, mate, because at the end of the day, I think our biggest concern is, like you said, if you're going to get rid of a player like that, you've got to do it early. You've got to be prepared and have your replacement, lined up and ready to go. I think the problem is Rice has made it very, very clear that it ain't money that motivates him. It is showing ambition. If we struggle to do more business in this window and it gets to the latter stages and no more players have come in, you could see him force his hand. And I'm not saying he's going to sit down on a down tools. I'm not saying that he's going to do a Payet and go on strike and all that sort of rubbish. I don't think he's that sort of character. But he could go in and he could have a word in the ear and say, I want you to accept the offer. And if that point comes, then it's very difficult to force a player to stay because they're not going to be happy. Especially when it's someone who's supposed to be the captain of your club and the person that's sort of, driving your club forward. Unless we show a little bit more intent this year, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more noise being made and if Chelsea really start to up the heat on it. And if Rice did turn around and say, and I'd love to know what people think, if Rice turned around and said at the end of this window and all that we've had come through the door is Aguerd and Areola, and we're lining up apart from that, the same as we did last year, if Rice turned around and said that ain't good enough for me, could we all moan about it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Basuma's gone, isn't he? 25 million, whatever, but then there's a court case happening, but that's a snip. I mean, he's been one of the, if you look at the stats, I mean, yeah, we can believe in stats as much or as less as we want, but he's been up in terms of most tackles made. He's got a good engine on him. But again, going back to what you've said, and we know about Moyes, maybe personality-wise, Basuma's not a good fit for the dressing room. I don't know. There's a lot of things.
He's not.
Yeah,
he's not. No, he's not. And Mandy's point there. I as much as I don't see Soucek as long-term first choice after the previous season that he's just had, the season before he was Hammer of the Year. He's obviously got something about him where he's useful. Why, just because we want better, does that mean he's got to leave the club? Soucek is the perfect player that when you're playing certain games, playing certain teams, if you've got a really dogged game in Europe and it's a real nitty-gritty game, that Soucek plays and starts because he will run and he'll put himself about. And, that's the sort of game you need a player like that. Soucek is a brilliant squad player, but that's what he should be, a squad player. We shouldn't be looking at him like he is our number one starter after Rice. So for me, I don't see why there's this conversations of he either is your first choice still or he's got to go out the door. No, I still want him in the club. I just don't want him playing 90 minutes every single game because sometimes we need to mix it up a bit.
Yeah, I think we say that sometimes, including me, selling because I don't think financially we can afford to put him on the bench. And similarly with Benrahma, some people like him, some don't. I mean, we got James in the chat. James obviously backs Benrahma. That's fair enough, I think. But what's outside our hands as fans is Moyes has got to back him, got to give him confidence.
That's right.
Because in the big games, I like to judge players when we're playing the big six, and Benrahma struggles sometimes. Is not
the problem you've got with Benrahma, mate, is he'll end up like another Hilaire one like that. We'll end up getting nothing for him because if Moyes don't fancy him and don't play him, his stock value goes down and down and down, and in the end, he'll be worth nothing, and he'll go for. And we can't keep paying £30 million for players and selling them for nothing. We can't keep doing that. So if at the moment he's probably still got fairly close to his previous value that we paid for him. So if he's not going to play and Moyes is never going to want to use him, then just get rid before he's not worth anything.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I was going to say something on those lines, really. Let me just look at the chats a minute. Mandy, did we? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so, Frankie. 50 million. I mean, it's a bit like the guy who went to Nuno, wasn't it? Liverpool. They tried to get him 45 million. And then they put these bids in with, what was it, 4 hours to go before the end of the window.
Yeah.
And things like that. I'm not sure about that, really. But, yeah, Mick doesn't believe it, mate. I just hope we don't spend a whole... Yeah, that's the thing, mate. You got to move on, haven't you? We got to learn, move on. And to be fair, we brought in our guard day 10 of the window. That's not bad for us. So, and that makes me think that Frankie, perhaps Agerd was up there as at the top of David Moyes' list, that he kind of looked at him. That's the thing, Frankie. I mean, that's what I'm thinking of the Rice thing. It's always interesting when you want someone from their team, they want someone from our team. It kind of, you can get a lot of the deals done, mate, really. And maybe they got one or two other players. Frankie, anyone else at Chelsea? The Scotland lad, the little guy in the middle, the CDM at Norwich, wasn't
Yeah,
he? Yeah, you got
Gilmore.
him. You got him. Bit of an up and down season. You've got
Yeah, he didn't do much at Norwich.
No, they didn't. They didn't like him there.
No.
Yeah. Let's see. Vlasic, mate, I think we're talking to Torino. It's. I mean, that's the thing, Frank, isn't it? When you're trying to buy players from Italy, France, Spain, they take the mick with you, don't they? 30, 40 million, like Anderson and people like that. But when you try and sell them, they won't give you not even $1 million. They're like,
Yeah.
So it's difficult. I mean, 33 million, 30 million, they reckon the deal on Vlasic. So I don't know what's gone on. His wages are an issue, Frankie, I heard, when you're trying to get rid of him. He's on a nice number, mate.
Yeah. Well, it was a mad signing, mate. And, I got a lot of stick when I said, this could be one of the worst signings in our history. And I know that sounds exaggerated, but it was context. It was basically because we was desperate for a striker at that point. We was going into a season where we had European football and we had a lot of games coming. Antonio wasn't going to be able to play all of those games. To be honest, he done really well when he avoided injury, better than we'd ever seen him do so. But then the money that we bought him in on, the money we paid for him, the wages we paid for him, everything about that Vlasic deal was wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. And, everyone kept saying there's a player in there somewhere. He hasn't had the run that he's probably deserved in his main position. I'll give him that. But for me, it was never, ever going to work out. And well, it's been a disaster, really, mate, isn't it? So
I didn't really, I know it's hard to judge in a few minutes here and there. I just didn't see with him. I remember that miss in one of the Europa games right in front of the goal.
Right in front of the goal, yeah.
Open,
he worked hard and he cared because you saw his passion on the sideline. He did work hard. So, I do give him that. But that's not enough, is it? Do you know what I mean? So.
Right, questions are coming in thick and fast, so we'll ask Frankie quickly. Frankie, Broja, would he be... That's the thing I was thinking about, and we're going to go into it soon, is all the players we've been linked with up front, mate, 6'7", 6'5", 6'3". Is that the kind of person we want, or are those kind of players going to slow it down for us, mate? I don't know.
Well, I think it's the sort of player that Moyes wants. He seems to want this target man in the middle, doesn't he? That seems to be what his style of play. It seems to be what the type of person that he wants. So, it fits the Moyes, style. It fits what he seems to like out of a striker. So fair enough. The only thing that concerns me with Broja, he came in, he had a really solid start, but we see that. It's really weird, the Premier League. Sometimes players come in, take a long time to settle down, eventually start to warm to the Premier League, and then can have a really long career. You then see these other ones who come in, hit the ground running, do amazing things in their first sort of half a season, and then just totally fade off. And you never hear or see of them again. It just goes bad. They don't get any more goals, and then they're shipped out of the Premier League, and that's the last you hear of them. So I'm just concerned with Broja that, he had that really fast-paced start. Are you now going to be overpaying because of that? I don't know. Can he do it long-term? I'm not convinced. I'm not 100% sold. He looks like a good player, but, that second half of the season, mate, he didn't do much.
That's the thing, mate. So, yeah, I mean, Mandy thinks Broja would be good. Conor Gallagher... So James thinks Conor Gallagher for me. Chelsea, I've welcomed him back with open arms, mate. He's not going anywhere. They're going to use him in their midfield. Question from James. Okay, Broja, is he really worth 30 million? We could find better than a... The thing with Broja, mate, he hasn't scored any goals since Christmas. That's the only thing. The goals dried up for him. But he's only 20. He's got something about him. He certainly works hard, which is like David Moyes wants. He's a grafter, isn't he? And doesn't get injured that often. He won that penalty at the London Stadium, which I kind of saw, so I was quite interested in him. 19 appearances, 1 goal, Vlasic. I can't even remember that goal, mate. Was it right at the beginning? Oh,
I
was
do
it
remember
Norwich?
it as a tap. It was a tap-in. Someone laid it on a plate for him, and he had to. He couldn't miss. It was, he was about 6 yards out, and he had to just put it in the goal. So, yeah, that was that.
Good, good. Yeah. So the
I
thing
think it might
is,
have even been Watford away. I think it might have been Watford away when you remember when Rice was out and we had Soucek had the best game he'd had in ages. Yeah, Watford away. Yeah, James has just said it. Yeah, it was. So.
cool on that one. Wanted to just one more person. Wanted to see your feelings on mate, and he's left the club. Ryan Fredericks, mate. What would you make of his time at West Ham?
Yeah, I mean, it was never great. I remember when we signed him, I remember all the Fulham fans saying he's so fast and he can run, but he can't defend and he's very, very limited as a footballer. I remember all the Fulham fans saying that when we signed him, and actually they was quite happy to see him go. None of them were disappointed when we bought him off them. So that normally says a lot because they watch him every week. And I think that's probably what we got as a player, mate. I think he was he clearly had a lot of pace. I think that got him out of trouble at times. But I think ultimately he was never really good enough for West Ham. I think he probably outstayed his welcome a little bit, to be perfectly honest. And I think he could have gone before now. But I think with Soufal on that side and Ben Johnson, and I think it probably was right that he left. But yeah, I mean, I felt like sometimes I felt like he got a bit of a bad rap. He was a trier. I think he had the odd game where he did look all right. But ultimately, mate, yeah, he was never good enough for West Ham.
Would you like, and do you think in a modern game there's space and kind of positionally for number 10, a number 10 where Benrahma's trying to fulfill that role? What do Lanzini, for me, it's difficult, isn't it, for him,
It makes since he lost that bit of pace, and he's an half small. If you're going to be that sort of small player in the Premier League, you've got to have a little bit of pace about you. And Lanzini's injury came, and he lost that half a yard of pace, and now he struggles with a game, mate. Now he don't have that effect that he used to. But Benrahma's the same, mate. He's got no pace at all. Benrahma, absolutely no pace. You see him trying to accelerate away from someone. There are times where I think he's in, and the ball's played over or the ball's played through to him, and I think he's gone, he's clear, and he gets caught up every single time. He's really lacks that bit of pace, Benrahma. So I think we lack that all round. I think Bowen brings that
Yeah,
bit of
you're right.
direct
Yeah,
drive, but
yeah.
I think all round we lack that bit of oomph, that bit of pace to get in behind teams. So
I think you're right, and obviously we can say a lot of things, but Lingard was nippy, wasn't he? Quick,
mm.
and we saw it, didn't we?
Yeah, and ability with him though, mate. He could pick a pass, couldn't he? But even, do you know what the thing with Lingard was? Head up, look forward. We haven't had a player like that in about a
Mm.
decade. We've always been this sideways, backwards. We've always had that in us. Lingard, every time we get the ball, head up. How can I go forward? Where can I get us in? And that totally changed our style of play for the times that he played for us. So I want to see a bit of that again, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. I mean, those players were Benioun, Berkovic, Ian Bishop in my time. Before that,
Mm.
Moncur to an extent as well. That's what I was thinking. If we go when we do, you've seen last season, Frankie, when the game's been a stalemate and doesn't look like a goal's going to come from anywhere. We're looking
No.
nothing on the bench. There's no invention. So that's why people like Ericsson, um, Rafinha, Lingard. I mean, Lingard that ain't going away, mate. That story's not
Mm.
going away. It's got to a point where whatever he wanted, no one's coming near him. It's all,
Mm.
So unless
But
he,
that speaks volumes, that mate. And then,
yeah,
at the moment, he's out there in where he is doing silly TikTok videos and dancing around like a prat. And mate, it ain't for me. Like, and I think other people look at it and just think you're just an idiot. Like, I don't
actually,
know.
that hotel you were at, Frankie. Yeah, one or two. Certain Mr. Bosch was there, and then Trevor Sinclair posted from the hotel. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw him as well there.
yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't see him when I was there. No, but I did see that he was there. So yeah.
Anyone else you saw out there? Any celebs? Anything else around there?
No, I didn't this time, mate. It's no, but I was laying low this time a little bit. I weren't getting in the mix. I didn't go to Portobello's once this time, and normally I'm sort of down there a little bit. So I stayed out the way a little bit this time, mate. I needed, like I say, to
Yeah, get away
recharge.
from football. Yeah, get
Yeah,
away from it,
that's it.
mate, and yeah,
Yeah,
spend time with the little ones and that kind of
that's it.
thing. Really, Areola looks like the deal that's been going along like a snail pace
Yeah,
is that
should have been the
should.
easiest deal in the world, shouldn't it?
I reckon they've been arguing between 8 and 10 million. I reckon it's ten and a
Mm.
half million. Pope, mate, Pope. I've got a lot of time for him, but I understand fans have said his footwork is a little bit shifty. He's not quite there. I think he's half decent. I don't know. I'm not sure if they've disclosed the fee. There's rumours it's not that high, and he's 30 years old. What do you think of Pope, mate?
Yeah, I'll take him, mate. He's always impressed me when he's played. I always think he's a good keeper. So, yeah, no, I'd be absolutely fine with that. For me, we ain't got to be that. I don't feel like we've got to think too much when it comes to a goalkeeper. For teams like City, they need a sweeper keeper. They need ball playing goalkeepers. They need people who can play out from the back. Mate, we ain't on that level. We're just not. We can pretend we are, but we're not. All we need is just a decent shot stopper, someone who can command their area, someone that you feel confident in, and the defenders can feel confident in that, he'll come and collect the ball when he needs to. That's all we need. I don't think we need to overthink it more than that. So Pope ticks that box. Areola ticked that box last season. For me, this should have been the easiest signing for us, really. But we've made
Yeah,
it hard work as usual.
yeah. I think, like you said, we're a very strong team. We're very fit, no doubt about that. What we need to do is, press a bit more, and we need more pace, and that starts from the back. I mean, very slow in
Mm,
bringing the ball out, a lot of
yeah.
sideways passes. I saw something a lot I remember now, is like we used to go up to the halfway line and the ball would go all the way back to the back four again, back to the
Mm,
goalie again. And by then, the opposition has already shifted into space at the back, and then that momentum has gone. So that was the thing with Vlasic. When we signed him, I didn't know who he was, but I was really confident, thinking he must have pace. And when I
mm,
saw him in those first two games, I was shocked, saying he hasn't got any pace. Like, why have we got him, really?
mm.
Watford have got a couple of interesting players. Dennis, Sarr was injured a lot last season, but he's rapid, mate. What I know of him,
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
you
when he
know.
plays, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Dangerous, makes things happen. That's the sort of thing we need. I don't know whether the Watford boys are the right ones for us. I don't know. We've seen them do it a little bit in the Premier League, but again, Dennis, he was another one. Had this purple patch right at the beginning, but then sort of faded away again. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on
Again,
him.
like you said, they'd be very good on the bench, isn't it? Very good on the bench. These
Yeah.
players, they keep the ball, bring them in, but if you're expecting to buy, like you said, just buy three players and expect them to carry the team, it's kind of a bit unfair on that, really.
Mm.
Any other players you've seen that are interesting?
Not really. To be honest, I switch off from it because if I don't, I get frustrated. So I don't,
Yeah.
signings are not something that I tend to give too much time to. I used to get wrapped up in it all and, want to see the rumors every day and go online and see who's been linked and all that sort of stuff. But in the end, you learn that, it's all a load of rubbish anyway. So.
What do you think's going to happen if the window? Imagine the windows closed yesterday. It's a very hard question, though. I mean, I just wonder who's going to be going and leaving. Who do you think's going to be leaving? If you had to mention a couple of names in your mind, you think not going to be here when season starts?
I don't think you'll see too many exits. I don't think we're having many more come in. So I don't think there is going to be this mass exit that people tend to think. So yeah, it's an odd one for me. Diop's the obvious one that I think is surplus to requirements. I think he's the one that you obviously would think, goes. Um again, I wouldn't be surprised if Benrahma goes, but I don't think Benrahma goes unless something comes in because I think we need those attacking options. I think we're so limited with attacking options, and Benrahma can fill a few different positions, so that's a plus.
Just something came to my mind with that, with Ericsson deciding between Man United and Brentford. And listen, I'd have him at our club. I'll be happy
Mm,
with him. Age 30 doesn't fit the club mode. We're trying to lower our age, and he'll come on a reasonable wages as well. I mean, if Ericsson chooses Man United, I mean, that's how low Man United have fallen. They were saying yesterday in the media, a
mm,
guy's thinking about Man United or Brentford. Like, give me a couple of days. That's how
mm,
low. And people are saying Ronaldo, like, what are you doing at Man United? It's gone all time low for that club. And yeah, if
mm,
Ericsson doesn't stay at Brentford, mate, then Benrahma back to Brentford. You know, I mean, those
Yeah,
rumours
makes
are.
sense. Would
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. Do you like Tony, the striker? Do you like him?
He's all right.
They got all.
I put him in the same sort of vein as Watkins and all them. I just think they're all right. I just think they're all right. I don't think they're anything to get totally excited about. I think he's good at Brentford. You know, does he do anything more than that? I don't know.
Arsenal are going to grab Jesus, aren't they? That'll be interesting.
Hey, putting him and Martinelli up front, that is, you could see Arsenal really kick on from that moment, because that's them two as a Brazilian pairing up front could be a force to be reckoned with.
Tell you what, mate, pace, in it. They got
Pace, and
pace.
I think you see,
Arsenal.
I think you see Jesus definitely go to the next level if he goes there. I think he gets better. I think he becomes a top striker in the Premier League in terms of goals if he goes there. I think, you know, the way City play, I don't think perfectly suited him, in and out the team all the time. I think if he was playing week in, week out, 90 minutes and being the man that they were looking for up top, I think he'll go and score serious amounts of goals, mate. So, yeah, good signing for them, I think.
I think it's going to happen. And interesting enough, Arteta was a coach at City. He knows him. So he knows he can get the best out of him. And hats off to him. I don't like Arteta, but he's done a good cleaning job. Yeah, Lacazette's gone back to Lyon, I think, on a 3. He's got the other boy off the wages as well. So fresh talent there, isn't it, mate? So, yeah, we touched upon a lot of things. I think there's going to be 1 or 2 movements to fill the transfer budget. I think Soucek, Benrahma, I don't know. I mean, has something happened between him and Moyes? I don't know.
Something went on. Definitely something went on.
Something's gone on.
I agree with that. Something went on.
You know, I remember
100%. 100% something went on there. Something happened at that Christmas time that we're not savvy to, because a lot changed around that Christmas period, mate. Our form fell off a cliff. Some players looked disinterested. There was a lot of rumours coming out around that time of things that were going on, which I do believe some of them. Something went down that we're not totally privy to, and it was a shame, because our season fell away after that.
I mean, Mandy, look at Mandy's asking Frankie, when are we going to buy a striker, mate? And
hey, Moyes wants Antonio as his number 9. I said it right at the beginning of this transfer window. Don't expect another striker to come in. Moyes wants Antonio as his number 9. That's not changing. It's not changing.
Do you think Fabianski will be in goal for the first game? Yeah, probably. I think. Yeah, probably. The other thing I was going to talk about was, God, I forgot now. I mean,
Warburton.
Yeah, bread. That's it. Yeah, good bread. And
bread.
When you Google Warburton, the bread comes up. Good bread. Yeah, that came out of the blue, didn't it? He's been a manager, highly thought of. Any kind of feelings on him? Although I know you lost Beers, didn't you?
I'll do the initial Frankie reaction, and then I'll do a more softer reaction. My mate messaged me yesterday and said, good manager him, like really, really well thought of, really good manager him. I said, mate, he played for Enfield and Boreham Wood. I'm sure Declan Rice is sitting there right now going, this is the man that I want to look up to improve my career, because he's been there, seen it and done it all. Boreham Wood and Enfield was the highlights of that man's career in terms of football. For me, it doesn't fit with, again, ambition of the players like Rice and people like that. I'm sure Moyes, knows him well and wants to bring him in as someone who... Moyes never wants anyone too vocal, too much ability, because he don't want him treading on his toes, mate. So I think, this is a nice, typical David Moyes' mate being brought in. He looks all right. He holds himself well. I think his record, what the team that he managed last, I can't remember.
Was it Birmingham and QPR? One of those.
QPR. I think his win ratio at QPR was about the same as Avram Grant's was at West Ham. So that's how good the man is.
Mate, Avram Grant. Mate, I remember what. Oh, wow, Avram Grant. He used to spend more time down the strip joints, didn't he? Than at West Ham.
So I'm not convinced this man is some world-class coup that we've had that is going to be like revolutionary to West Ham United. However, what I will say is I'm going to give Moyes absolute benefit of the doubt here, that every other coach he's brought in seems to have added benefit to West Ham. He brought in lots of coaches in Nevin, in Stuart Pearce, in Nolan, and I think all of them contributed to the reason why we've had a good couple of seasons. So if Moyes has picked another gem out of the bag in that sort of similar vein, then I'm all for it, mate. So time will tell.
What role do you think Noble's going to have next season at the club, if any, or maybe the season after?
None for next season. Season after, I don't know, what role should he have, mate. I don't.
Coach.
I don't think so.
Ambassador, then, isn't it? Maybe
Ambassador. I think he's but that's for me as far as it goes. I don't think, I think he's good for culture. I don't think he's much more than that, because I don't think he done anything on any sort of level to suggest more than that. I don't think he had any desire really to be a coach. He always said it weren't for him. He had no desire for management. I just don't think that's in his character. I think he's good to keep a West Ham feel around the club, but I think that's about as far as it goes.
I think, looking at the club in the window, my feelings are, again, I could be wrong, is, again, I see it always black and white and clearly. I think under David Moyes, this is about as good as it's going to get. And I think we missed a huge trick and underinvesting money at the top, especially last summer window. Well, I keep saying we were in Europa, we were above, we were a bigger name, attractive than Tottenham, Arsenal, Newcastle, Villa, and we didn't buy it. Hardly any. Zuma, hands up. But we've blown it, mate, in my view. Even in the Brighton game, mate, we've even blown getting to Europa again. Our form since Christmas has been shocking. It's one of the reasons that I just didn't enjoy going to London Stadium after January. I know Europa gave some fans some great nights and trips. I agree with that. But, mate, in the league, I remember the Southampton defeat at home, mate, 3-2. Yeah. I remember Leeds, mate, and Leeds were... Terrible. I think, Frankie, the pub team would have given Leeds a good game the way they were playing, mate.
Yeah.
Burnley beating you at home. That's 9 points. That's dreadful, mate, And it's just hurt me, especially because I hate Spurs so much and what happened to them. And we laugh at them, but they managed to get one of the best managers in the world and push on. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before Rice goes. And we'll get 80, 90 million for him, and you can't really buy that much with that in this time and age. And it's going to be good old mid-table West Ham again, really, looking back as selling videos on semi-final defeats, mate. That's my feelings, mate. I mean,
I'm with you.
I think it's going to take a lot for them to suddenly spark the interest, like rocket high again with everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, season tickets have been solid, but not revolutionary considering the season we had last season. But this is, again, when everyone goes, what a brilliant season, what a fantastic season. It wasn't. And the season ticket renewals have showed that. Those season ticket renewals should have been banged out. You shouldn't have been able to get anywhere near a season ticket. But I phoned up yesterday and they're still available. So, at the end of the day, that says it all. It was a good season. That's about as far as it went. We fell. We didn't even get to the final hurdle. We fell before then. When we will get that opportunity again, I don't know. I think, everyone thought they was guaranteed another European tour this year because we blew getting sixth. Well, that's going to come back to bite you in the backside, mate, because Declan Rice is missing for those first two qualifying playoff games, and that's going to be a massive loss through suspension. David Moyes is suspended for one of those games as well. The writing is already on the wall for a calamitous West Ham typical showing that, we go and blow that playoff game. So unless we get some proper, unless we get some proper minnow, we blew it against Astra. And we've blown it every time. Any time we've ever had to qualify for Europe in recent times, we have not qualified. So it worries me massively. And now Rice can't be part of it, and Moyes is going to be missing for the first game. It does worry me, mate. It does.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened. Yeah, like you said, we just need comfort. I think, like you said, the centre backs are right, but we don't really know nothing about him. Ward-Prowse, that would be a statement that get me excited, or someone we know. Phillips Leeds, that would have been a nice one. So someone that we want and we need and we know about that will make, Agard is there, but we don't know anything, do we, really, about him, especially before we were linked with him. We didn't know nothing, so not really excited about him at the moment. But
I'm quite surprised as what we've been doing with the youth. Perkins looks like he's going out the door. He just won Young Hammer of the Year. And I know his demands for wages he wants the same as what a first team player should get and so on, which is a little bit crazy, to be perfectly honest. You know, why do we keep ending up in this position where these, and we had that game against Norwich towards the end of the season there. We didn't put a single youth player on the bench. You're 3-0 up, game's finished. What an opportunity to bring on young players and give them experience of the Premier League. We just neglect the youth totally. And they've just finished runners-up to Manchester City, who are looking like they've got a golden crop of young players. I'm just ashamed, mate, that we have this thin squad. It would be nice for us to be able to use a bit of youth to fill some gaps, but we don't seem to want to do it. And
Yeah, so like you said, let's keep an eye on the window in the coming weeks and months and see what happens. But obviously, we're seeing Newcastle. They've got a whole new defence nearly now. If you look at the Trippier and Target and the Brighton lad, and they have not finished yet, mate. They're after that Dutch guy, aren't they? Who's highly rated.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're going to get jealous looking over our shoulders. Villa are a bit quiet at the moment. I'm sure they're going to come out with something. Spurs, they're doing their business early, mate. Get them in before the preseason. Yeah. He told them,
good business, mate. Good
with
business.
Conte, you do not mess with him, mate. Otherwise, he walks, as we know. So obviously, I think Daniel Levy's met his match. He's not quiet. Just a quick question before. If something was to happen to David Moyes in a couple of years, is there any other managerial talent, young talent out there that you like? Or Brighton boy? The Brighton lad. I don't know.
No, he's all right, but is he that exciting? I don't know.
He's a lot.
I want a winner. I don't want someone who can keep Brighton out of relegation. I want someone who wins things. I want us to go and highlight a young manager in Europe that's taken a club that didn't deserve to win anything, who wins something, and then we go, this man's a winner, go and get him in. A lot of people not Mourinho, but he went and won that trophy with Roma last year, mate. He wins things. He's a born winner. And I really just want to see on the sideline someone who's got that character and desire to want to win something. That's all I want to see. And I don't know who that is and don't really care who that is, but I just want someone who comes in and goes, right, we're winning something. I don't care if it's the League Cup. I don't care if it's the Europa Conference League. I don't care what it is. I just want a manager who has a desire and determination to go and win something, mate.
The other thing is, mate, attraction and the training ground, mate. I was going to put it up yesterday. There was a list of the top 10 training grounds in the Premiership, and you got teams like Brighton, Watford, none of this big, Super League teams that we should be on par with. And then someone put the portal cabin arm. Because Agard, I was cringing watching that welcome video as he goes, what do you think? What do you think? And he, and then obviously Oggy turns up, says hello to him, Carlton Cole. But that makes me cringe when I see training ground. So if you look at the training ground, you look at Sullivan's reputation dealing with clubs in Europe to buy players, and then you look at David Moyes.
It's a disaster. It's a recipe for disaster, mate. It is. It just is. But, I don't think anything would change even with other managers while Sullivan's there, mate. I don't think anything can influence him to be anything other than what he is, mate. I think they've got control. They've always had control. All those people who told me David Moyes is 100% in control of transfers and decisions in the club, at that time I said, you're all mad. And now they're all changing their tune and saying Moyes, doesn't have control now. So I don't know what they actually think. But for me, Sullivan's always been the main man, and he continues to be.
Brilliantly. So we're going to wrap things up now. Mandy, yeah, I agree with that, Mandy. We've got to really step it up because the boys at Arsenal, Spurs, they're all going to... that's the thing, Frankie. I think next season Europe, oh, mate, it's going to be tough because you've got Newcastle coming in, who, if you look at Newcastle's form since Christmas, it was way up.
Very good. Well above us. Miles above us.
What do you think about Eddie Howe now, then? Any change?
Always good, mate. Always good. Always had respect for Eddie Howe, mate. He's a fantastic manager. There's no question about that. He's a brilliant manager, mate. That is someone who I would have had all day long. That was the West Ham level, really. He wasn't the winner, but he was a fantastic manager and someone that we should have had. I think the problem, though, with Mandy's sort of 2-year progress, Mate, the problem is the squad peaked last year. We're an aging squad, second oldest average age in the Premier League.
Yeah.
That squad, the time last year was the time that squad had to do something. It's a rebuild job now. There's no progression. We've not built something that we can now continue to build upon. An average age of 25, 26, add some players, and then really start to push on. That's not what we are. We're an old squad, and it's a rebuild job, I'm afraid, and that's where we are.
Troja, I agree. I think Rice is pissed off since January, mate, and let's see what happens. It'll give him ammunition to perhaps look at a transfer in Christmas and summer. We'll see. Gary's going to put a bet in £20 West Ham win the league. I wonder what odds you're going to get on that, mate.
Huge. I'll take his 20 quid. I'll give him some good odds.
They've got Botman now, haven't they? I thought that was the one they're after, the Dutch boy. Is that a Dutch boy, Botman? Is it? Yeah, Newcastle, mate. They're going to be good. But anyway, it's been... Yeah, Frankie, it's been a good show. Nearly hours up. I've enjoyed it. I think the chat's enjoyed it. And we've discussed, a lot of things. Transfers, coaches, players, where the club's heading, what's happened recently, our competition. I think we've done well, mate. So hopefully, everyone, we'll keep this regular show going, and once a week / perhaps twice, we'll see how the week's going. And I hope you've enjoyed it, Frankie. And
loved it, mate. Loved
got
it.
You warmed up.
It's good, mate. It's nice to get it off the chest and get your opinions out there. I do love it. And, mate, I just, sometimes people think I'm being a bit Mr. Grumps and everything else. I'm not. I've enjoyed the last couple of seasons, but I can't help but just tell it how I see it. I think I'll always be that way. And I think, that's how it should be. And, mate, there's nothing more than I'd like to come on here and start singing the praises, because we've signed Broja and we've signed Areola, and, we've filled all those gaps that we need to, and start properly getting excited about this season and going, there's no worries about the playoffs, because we're going to qualify because of the people that we've brought. The people that we brought in are going to guarantee us that we're going to rock on into the Conference League. And not only that, but we've got a real chance of winning it this year, or winning a trophy. That's what I want to come on here and say, but I need to see something that gives me that confidence. So mate, hopefully as this next few weeks evolves, that's where we'll get to, and it will start to get more exciting.
Definitely. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Frankie. And we'll catch up soon with you guys with the same format, same show, same guests. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.